Greetings, dear viewer. If you enjoy a good chill running down your spine, please like this video and subscribe to our channel. Now, let's settle in for a tale of terror and suspense. My name is not of consequence, but the stories I share are. They are tales that creep in the stillness of the night, stories that lurk in the shadows of our everyday lives. Today we journey to the sun-kissed sands of Palm Beach, a place known for its beauty and tranquility, but every paradise has its own set of shadows. Here in one of its peaceful neighborhoods, a chilling story unfolds, a story that will make you question the very notion of safety and the illusion of normalcy, a tale of a neighbor not quite as they seem. So brace yourself and let's delve into the darkness of Palm Beach. The sun-kissed beaches of Palm Beach have always been a paradise, but every paradise has its own demons. Our protagonist, a brave soul seeking a fresh start, decided to make this sun-drenched haven their new home. The charming houses, the friendly community, the everlasting sunshine, it was all too inviting. It was as if Palm Beach was waiting for them, welcoming them into its warm embrace. Yet even in the most picturesque of places, there can be shadows that go unnoticed. The first encounter with the neighbor was unsettling, to say the least. A man of peculiar habits and an even more peculiar aura. He had a tendency to keep to himself, rarely seen during the day, his presence more felt than seen. His house, though identical to the others, bore an eerie air of desolation. The curtains were always drawn shut, and the garden, unlike the others, was a wilderness of untamed shrubs and trees. The neighbor's oddities were subtle, yet they were there. The occasional glimpse of him in the dim evening light, his silhouette more ghost than man. The strange noises that seemed to echo from his house in the dead of the night. The way his eyes, cold and distant, seemed to follow you as if knowing something you didn't. It was unnerving, it was chilling, and it was just the beginning. Rumors began to circulate within the community, whispers of the strange man living next door. Stories of his past, shrouded in mystery, only added to the growing unease. Yet our protagonist chose to dismiss these as mere gossip, choosing to believe in the best of people. After all, who doesn't have their quirks? But as the days turned into weeks, the oddities became more frequent, the chill in the air more palpable. The neighbor was not just an enigma, he was an anomaly that was beginning to cast a shadow over the sunny paradise of Palm Beach. But it was not the paradise that was haunted, it was the man next door. As the sun set, the true nature of the neighbor began to reveal itself. As the embers of the day began to cool, an eerie symphony began to play out in the quiet Palm Beach neighborhood. The protagonist's home, once a sanctuary, became a front-row seat to an unsettling spectacle. Nightfall brought with it a series of bizarre occurrences. The first, a peculiar sound like 1,000 whispers would waft through the protagonist's windows, an unsettling lullaby from the neighboring house. The whispers were sporadic, a soft, incessant murmur that seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere at the same time. It was a sound that could turn tranquility into disquiet, a sound that clawed at the edges of the protagonist's sanity. Then there were the lights. Like a possessed lighthouse, the neighbor's home would flicker with an unpredictable rhythm. The glow seeped through the curtains, casting an otherworldly dance of shadows on the protagonist's walls. The lights were a visual echo of the whispers, unpredictable, unexplainable, and deeply unnerving. As the nights wore on, the protagonist's curiosity began to bloom into a creeping fear. The mind has a way of turning the unknown into a monster, and each night the monster grew. The whispers became the monster's voice, the flickering lights its eyes, observing, waiting. The protagonist's home was no longer a sanctuary, but a trap, a cage of fear and anticipation. The protagonist's dread was like a ticking clock. Every heartbeat, every tick of the second hand brought a new wave of terror. Each creak of the house, each rustle of the wind was a potential prelude to a nightmare. Sleep became elusive, every moment of wakefulness a vigil, a silent plea for the sunrise. Each night was a symphony of horror, each sound a note of fear. The protagonist was trapped in a nocturnal concert, a nightly performance that played on the strings of their sanity. The neighbor's house, once an unremarkable fixture of the street, had become an orchestra of the macabre, a conductor of the protagonist's terror. Curiosity can sometimes lead us down paths better left untraveled, a statement that would prove all too true for our protagonist. Driven by the relentless tug of curiosity, he decided to confront the eerie mysteries that surrounded his next-door neighbor. On a fateful night under the cloak of darkness, he ventured into the unknown, his heart pounding like a drum echoing in the stillness. A single question hung in the air, a question that was about to be answered. What was the secret that the neighbor so meticulously hid? As he moved closer to the neighbor's house, the wind whispered warnings and the rustling leaves seemed to echo his fear. But the protagonist was resolute. He had to know, he had to uncover the truth. The house, standing like a brooding entity, seemed to stare back at him. The door creaked open, revealing a world untouched by the warm Palm Beach sun. A world that was as unwelcoming as it was unsettling. The smell of dampness and decay hung in the air, wrapping around him like a shroud. He stepped inside, his eyes adjusting to the dim light, and then he saw it. In the heart of the house, hidden from the world, was the horrifying truth. The realization hit him like a bolt of lightning, searing his senses, filling him with a dread he had never known. The secret was out. The neighbor's dark secret was a chilling testament to the horrors that mankind was capable of. His heart pounded in his chest like a war drum, his breath hitched in his throat and his blood ran cold. The walls of the house, once just barriers of bricks and mortar, now held a sinister tale, a tale that would forever haunt him. A tale of a man who lived next door, a man who held a dreadful secret. And there it was, the dark secret that the walls of the house concealed. The truth was out, and it was far more terrifying than any tale of horror, more chilling than any nightmare. In the heart of sunny Palm Beach, a dark secret had been unveiled, a secret that would forever change the way our protagonist looked at his seemingly ordinary neighbor. The mask of normality was shattered, revealing the true face of the monster. This was the moment of reckoning, the moment when the curtain of deception was finally pulled away. The protagonist, driven by fear, yet spurred by a sense of duty, stood at the threshold of the terror that had been lurking next door. The confrontation was inevitable, the culmination of a series of disturbing events that had escalated to this chilling climax. The protagonist, once a casual observer, was now an unwilling participant in this grotesque pantomime. The neighbor, once an enigma, had morphed into an embodiment of fear. The protagonist was not just confronting a neighbor anymore, but a monster that had been hiding in plain sight. The suspense hung in the air, thick and suffocating, as the protagonist faced the monster. The horrific revelation was a blow, a jolt that shook the protagonist to the core. The neighbor was not just an ordinary man with peculiar habits, but a creature of nightmares, a being shrouded in darkness, thriving on the terror of others. Every creak of the floor, every sinister shadow, every chilling whisper in the wind, it all led to this moment. The protagonist's heart pounded in their chest, a steady drumbeat echoing the terror that coursed through their veins. But they held their ground, faced the monster, and in that moment they were no longer just a victim, but a beacon of courage in the face of unimaginable horror. As the confrontation unfolded, the idyllic image of Palm Beach was marred by the gruesome reality that lay beneath its surface. The sun-kissed sands, the azure waters, and the whispering palms were all but a facade, a beautiful veneer hiding a horrific secret. In the face of true horror, the paradise of Palm Beach seemed like a distant dream. The monster had been unveiled, and the tranquil beach town would never be the same again. The protagonist's ordeal was a chilling reminder that monsters do exist, not just in stories, but in the real world, sometimes right next door. When the sun rises, it casts away the darkness, but the shadows it casts are a reminder of the horrors of the night. As dawn broke, the protagonist's confrontation with the monstrous neighbor was reduced to a chilling memory. The aftermath was as haunting as the encounter itself. The once tranquil Palm Beach neighborhood was now a ghost town. A chilling silence had replaced the once warm and inviting community chatter. The protagonist, forever scarred, decided it was time to leave, to seek solace away from the haunting memories of Palm Beach. He moved far, far away, but the dread, the fear, it lingered. It clung to him like a shadow, a constant reminder of the horrifying ordeal he had endured. But life, as it always does, moved on. The once monstrous neighbor was but a chilling tale to tell around the fire. As our tale comes to an end, remember, not all is as it seems in paradise. Good night, dear viewer, and until our next chilling tale.